A beautiful Sunday evening, last day of the month of August 2025. Good evening, folks, and welcome to Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Iron Port is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, MPS, and indeed Phoenix Insurance. The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, GPHA, and our media partner is the Business and Financial Times, the BNFT. Now, if you want to have a grasp of all the transpired in the show tonight, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT. And you'll be able to read all that happened on the show. We are streaming live on our social media pages tonight. On Facebook, we are live at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Still on Facebook, we are live at Port of Tema. And on YouTube, we are streaming live at Eye on Port. Now, we shall be getting interactive with you. And so all you have to do is sit back, relax, grab your phones, and send us your messages and comments ahead via our dedicated WhatsApp line, which is 0538 037353. 0538 037353. And when the time is ripe and I pick signals from the production team, we shall activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. My name is Kennedy Mona. We are going for a quick break. When we return, we will continue with the show. Please stay with us.
Energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP. Available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP. Wufilia. Huh? Wufeel. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water. Or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Welcome to today's edition of Serene Insurance Business News. We present to you Serena.
You're right. You can complete an entire insurance process for the purchase of any motor and other insurance products, from onboarding to issuing a motor insurance sticker and policy certificate, all on WhatsApp in less than 10 minutes. Serena is simple to use and it prioritizes user ease and flexibility. You can either use voice notes or text to effortlessly issue your instant policy, cross-platform renewals, claims, and also process your payments through mobile money, Visa, and MasterCard. To engage Serena, just search for Serena Insurance on all social media handles and scan the Serena barcode or save her number 0500 517 114 and start chatting her on WhatsApp immediately.
There you have it. Serena is not just a tool. It's an innovation by Serene Insurance designed to redefine how motor and travel insurance are accessed and managed. Speed, convenience, and reliability.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
At Phoenix Insurance, we make the unpredictable predictable and the uncertain certain with our range of products, including motor insurance, fire insurance, engineering insurance, marine insurance, accident insurances, and all types of bonds. We have you covered. We also support you with risk management advice to enable you stay focused on your business. Take a policy with Phoenix Insurance today. We help you rise from adversity stronger and more secure. Contact us on 0302 246319 or 0302 246644 or any of our branches, agencies, and brokers spread across the nation. You can as well connect with us on our WhatsApp chatbot. Efiba is waiting to assist you. Make the future predictable with Phoenix Insurance. Phoenix Insurance, a delightful service experience delivered with wisdom.
All right, welcome back. By way of local stories, let's take a look at happenings in the port and shipping industry over the last week.
Hence the installation of satellite outposts along the Volta Lake as part of its mandate to monitor and regulate Ghana's maritime environment, including inland waterways. According to the Principal Maritime Administration Officer of the Authority, Divine Kofi Glee, the initiative is being rolled out under the leadership of GMA's new Director General, Dr. Kamaldeen Ali, who has prioritized improved safety and regulation across the inland water transport system. He revealed that a vessel, MV Matekole, will soon be deployed onto the Volta Lake to support regulatory activities, enhance monitoring, and provide search and rescue capabilities in the event of accidents. The Authority is also stepping up public education for commuters and operators along the lake to adopt safety standards and avoid risky practices.
Also, they use dangerous chemicals to fish and all that. We are here to ensure that those things are things of the past. We are bringing officers whose duty will be to patrol with the lady who are assisting us. And if we get some offenders, we'll bring them to book.
As part of the new measures, GMA has pledged to intensify patrols to curb illegal activities, particularly the use of harmful fishing methods, warning that offenders will face strict sanctions. The Authority is equally committed to tackling pollution in the lake, which remains a vital source of drinking water and fisheries for surrounding communities.
We will ensure that people, before they travel, they wear the life jackets. It doesn't cost anything to wear a jacket. It rather protects them in case of any accidents. They'll still be afloat for them to be rescued.
The new outpost will be located in strategic areas including Akosombo, Pando and Dambai, among others, with officers permanently stationed to oversee daily operations. With this initiative, the Ghana Maritime Authority has assured stakeholders of zero tolerance for accidents, pollution, overloading and unsafe practices, while also introducing community-centered CSR projects along the lakeside communities.
The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority-GPHA continues to demonstrate its commitment to youth empowerment and human capital development by hosting the Youth Development Summit for over 700 national service personnel from the Tema metropolis at the GPHA tires as they end their year-long service to the nation. This year, Tema Metro had a total of 1,874 personnel who undertook national service, and this career development initiative aimed to guide participants through the three most common pathways after service: securing employment, pursuing entrepreneurship, or furthering their education. The interactive engagement featured key stakeholders from academia, public service, and industry, offering practical advice and mentorship. The director of Port Tema, Tebon Zuma Esquire, shared a message of perseverance and diligence, encouraging the young graduates to draw inspiration from personal stories of resilience while awaiting opportunities.
I will encourage you to continue to work hard. It's not all of you who will get the opportunity to be in GPHA, but wherever you get the opportunity to serve, know that you are writing your CV, and you never know where your boss will be asked to recommend you. Today, I still have people referring others who have done national service with me, what's the character of this person, and the way you make your space is the same way you appear in the picture.
Other speakers empathized with anxieties of the personnel, but urged them to embrace the slim but promising opportunities available, drawing inspiration from their journeys.
Pick something that you're interested in and you will go far with it. The other thing I'll say is that it's important to do value addition. We talk about these things all the time, but you need to think about it a bit more for yourself. For example, most of you have phones that connect to the internet, and by God's grace, you get some data every now and then. I'll advise you to use some of it to improve yourself. AI is something that we talk about a lot in very negative ways, but you can harness it positively.
So you may not know about the youth enterprise support. All you have to do is to think big, fashion a business plan, and get support. And it will be funded. Once you can employ two or more people, you are good to go. So there are opportunities.
So like you, I've stood at crossroads, uncertain of the path ahead. Like you, I've wondered if my skills and my education will transfer, if my service will matter, if I would find my place. The journey from the screen and private industry to public service wasn't scripted like the movies that I've acted in. God just orchestrated this. But here's what I learned. Uncertainty is not the enemy of success. It is the birthplace of transformation.
All right, so those were some local stories and happenings in the port and shipping industry over the last week. We are now going for the word or phrase of the day. Remember, the word or phrase of the day segment has been fashioned to bring you up to speed with the terminologies and jargons we use in the shipping industry. Today's phrase, green shipping corridors. Green shipping corridors.
Green shipping corridors. These are designated maritime routes where ships operate using low or zero emission fuels or technologies such as green hydrogen, ammonia, or methanol, backed by coordinated support from ports, fuel suppliers, regulators, and logistics providers to facilitate the clean transition. This concept is central to accelerating global shipping's shift to net zero emissions.
And now straight on to the health and safety tip for the week. And this week we are talking about fire drills. Fire drills.
Fire drills. Fire drills are structured exercises designed to prepare individuals for a fire emergency. They involve practicing evacuation procedures, ensuring that everyone knows how to respond when a fire alarm sounds. During the fire drill, occupants practice exiting the building through designated fire exits, and the process typically includes sounding alarm systems and conducting roll calls at assembly points to ensure everyone is accounted for. Fire drills are essential for enhancing safety and preparedness in any organization or building.
All right, so we're zooming into our discussion proper tonight, and tonight we're having a part two of the discussion we had last week, which has to do with customs duties and taxes and used vehicle importation rules here in Mother Ghana. Last week, remember, we had in the studios Mr. Smile Agwemenu, who is the Chief Revenue Officer at the Customs Policy and Programs Department, GRA. He's right here in the studios once again to shed some light particularly focusing this week on used vehicle importation rules in Ghana. I know it's a topic that you've been yearning to learn from, to ask the boggling questions on your mind, to find out things about your vehicle, importation and clearance at the ports and all that. It's a topic of interest, and that's why our bosses decided that we should have this part too, so that we can engage you and get you to assimilate and appreciate what it is that the rules are when you are importing your vehicle into the country, and what you will need to do in order to get it cleared for you from the port. And so, once again, we say a very good evening to you, sir, and welcome. For 2 weeks consistent and straight, we're grateful to you for taking time off to oblige us. We're deeply grateful, sir. Right, so by way of refreshing the minds of our viewers, I would want you to perhaps just give us a summary, so to speak, of what we did last week in terms of duties and taxes, the types of taxes you took us through that, and all that. Just basically that before we zoom into, used vehicle importation rules.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I understand your microphone is off. If you can put it on, yes. Awesome, yes, right, yes, right. Technology, as somebody would say.
Good evening once again, and greetings from the Commissioner General and the Commission of Customs and Management. Last week, we looked briefly about details of taxes.
Yes.
And I mentioned that we have for the ECOWAS Common External Tariff,
yes,
and other schedules for the CET, we have 5 tax bands ranging from 0%, 5, 10, 20, and 35.
Right.
And that depends on the type of commodity that you are importing or you are bringing into the country. And I also mentioned the imposition of 15% VAT, that is value-added tax. I mentioned the imposition of some national levies.
Yes.
That's the
COVID levy.
The COVID-19 Health Recovery Levy. That's the Ghana Education Trust Fund levy.
Yes.
And then we have the National Health Insurance Levy.
Absolutely.
Then I also mentioned we have some special taxes, which has to do with the special import levy.
Yes.
We have, that is 2% on the CIF. The Ghana Health Insurance Levy, it's 2.5%. That is the same for the Get Fund Levy, 2.5% on the CIF. And then I also mentioned we have transnational levies, ECOWAS levy of 0.5% on the CIF. We have African Union Import Levy, which is a 0.2% on the CIF.
Yes.
So, and then I mentioned that because we provide service, we also charge, the law requires that we charge a 1% on cases where, under 3 categories, where the duty, that is import duty, is not payable.
Right.
One, when you are, the item is statutory exempt, when it's exempt by the Exemptions Act of 2022, Act 1080, or where it is in a tariff, it is a 0 rated item, that is import duty, it's 0.
Right.
Or where you are exporting the item from a bonded warehouse, that is earlier brought into the country, duties and taxes were exempt, and they were sent into a bonded facility. And you are taking it out of the bonded facility. So this will attract a 1% of processing fee. We also have a 1% on vehicle examination fee. These are largely the fees and taxes that we charge at the port for imported goods.
Great.
I also mentioned for export duty, except for aviation turbine kerosene, for international flight, that is taxed, or other exports are tax 0.
Right. Awesome. Thank you very much for bringing us that summary of what we did last week in terms of customs duties and taxes. Now, let's take a look at the used vehicle importation rules in Ghana. First of all, what's the policy on used vehicle importation into this country?
So,
the current policy, so to speak.
Yeah, I would want us to probably put this into context or perspective.
Yeah. Sure.
So let's look at importation. What we mean by import, because anytime you see a vehicle that is coming into the country, it is not necessarily that the vehicle is coming for use permanent in the country.
Right.
So there are reasons for which a vehicle will be coming into the country. Importation is just basically when you cross to bring into the customs territory, which is Ghana.
Yes.
So you could bring for any reason. One, it could be for home use, which we probably will be discussing further.
Right.
Where duties and taxes are required to be paid except you are exempt under the Exemptions Act.
Right.
Or under the ECOWAS protocol, which allows the free movement of persons.
Yes.
That is signed in 1979. Allows the free movement of persons encouraged within the protocol. Allows that you come as a private person, drive your car into the country for temporal use, for temporal stay.
Yes.
If it is for private use, you have up to 30. If it is commercial, you have up to 90
days. Yeah.
90 days. So that is also another time a vehicle is coming into the country, and it goes with its conditions and requirements.
Yes.
You also have cases where the vehicle is coming for repairs and return. So it is likely that a vehicle from Togo, registered in Togo, would want to come for some repair works in the country and go back.
Yes.
It is a form of importation, but that is not for permanent stay. It's to go back after the servicing is completed. You also have under the you have under the customs regulation the triptych or the canet, which allows. You will notice that we have some. Just as there was a case where a Ghanaian drove from Ghana here up to London in the UK.
Yes.
You could also have the reverse for people driving and using our corridor.
Yeah.
The law allows. That is also an importation, using our corridor through up to another exit customs office for exportation. You also have those that are coming to carry goods, come and carry transit goods, or carrying transit or passenger from, say, Togo, Nigeria, using our corridor to Cote d'Ivoire or Abidjan.
Yeah.
These are all forms of importation, and these are vehicles that will be brought into the country. There are protocols, there are laws, requirements that regulate all of them. But when you come to importation, you mentioned vehicles, and in fact, the law looks at vehicle in general as anything that carries or any means of conveyance for the carriage of goods by road.
Right.
So at a point, you yourself, you can become a vehicle.
Right.
If you are carrying goods on your head, crossing the border, you are a carrier, you are a means of conveyance.
Yes.
Now, we call all of these ones means of conveyance. And our focus is the means of conveyance that is by road. Now, it is a motor vehicle because we'll be dealing more with the motor vehicles. The vehicle itself is just basically any means of conveyance by road.
Right.
Now, it is a motor vehicle when it is able to not use any external force, human propelled or human being doing the paddling or doing the effort.
Yes.
It has a motor that is able to propels it. So that is when it is deemed as a motor vehicle. So our discussion will be largely focused on motor vehicles, where we have the importation of used motor vehicles against importation of new motor vehicles.
Yes.
So the law that regulates the importation of motor vehicles, you find it basically under the Customs Act of 2015, Act 891, specifically Section 55 down to Section 61.
Right.
Section 55 deals with the motor vehicle tax, which tells you the imposition of tax.
Right.
I mentioned the tax band, VAT, and all those ones. 55 tells you the imposition of the tax.
Right.
Then 56 tells you the responsibility of the authority that licenses vehicles.
Right.
So in Ghana, it is the Driver's Vehicle Licensing Authority Department. Yes, DVLA. So it tells DVLA not to register any motor vehicle unless the customs document is provided, unless a customs officer clears that this vehicle is satisfying all the conditions for registration. So 56 puts that responsibility on DVLA.
Yes.
The reason for which we partner DVLA, and for every DVLA facility in the country, you find, again, the law requires the presence of a customs officer to validate the customs document and the vehicle before registration is allowed.
Right.
Then if you look at 57, talks about the importation of the motor vehicle, which refers us to the schedule.
Yes.
Which refers us to the schedule. The schedule deals with the discounting of the value of motor vehicle. The schedule also deals with the imposition of penalty where the vehicle has reached a particular age, which requires that penalty is imposed. We call it vehicle over age penalty.
Yes.
You find that under Section 57. Then 58 deals with the prohibited vehicles that are not allowed to be imported.
Mm-hmm.
So, we shifted to be doing left-hand driving some years ago.
Yeah.
So the importation of right-hand wheel vehicles is actually not allowed, except that you take permission from the minister, and the minister here is the minister responsible for finance. Again, if you go to 59, talks about the forfeiture of vehicles to the state. The law requires that 60 days from the time you have discharged the vehicle, you are supposed to take the vehicle out of customs control or out of customs charge.
Yes.
Where you are unable to do so, after the 60th day, the law allows, Section 59 provides for the forfeiture, the outright forfeiture of the vehicle to the state, then defines how the vehicle is supposed to be disposed of when it is forfeited to the state. Again, Section 60 deals with the valuation of used motor vehicles.
Yes.
Tells you the consideration of the purchase price when it is bought for home use, and then the depreciation of that value based on the age of the vehicle. That is for Section 60. And then Section 61 puts some responsibility on local dealers. These are those like Toyota, Rana Motors, and all those ones, to provide the Commissioner General with certain information regarding these vehicles that they bring into the country, which includes the make, model, and certain information to guide the Commissioner General in ascertaining the true nature and value of the items, so of the vehicle. So these are largely where you find regulations when it comes to the importation of used or motor vehicles. Yes.
Yeah. Right.
In the country.
So are there any age restrictions for the importation of used vehicles? And what are the penalties should anybody breach these restrictions?
So, yes, we have age restrictions, and if you refer to the schedule to the Customs Act 2015, Act 891, tells you the schedule. For all categories, in fact, we have broadly 3 categorization for the imposition of this penalty.
Right.
For the category where it is the first one, the cars, the SUVs that we know, then we have those smaller buses and co. Then we have the bigger one, the bigger buses, and those related ones. So for the first category, the penalty can range from, so every vehicle, every motor vehicle, 10 years after manufacture brought into the country is liable to the payment of an overage penalty. All motor vehicles. We have some exclusions though, but all the motor vehicles, you'll largely be finding them under HS heading 8702, 8703, 8704.
Right.
They are all required to be brought into the country before they turn the age of 10. Otherwise, penalty is imposed. The penalty imposition is graduated depending on the age of the vehicle at the time of importation.
Right.
So, for example, we have where it is from 10 years but not more than 12 years.
Right.
There's an imposition of a penalty, 5%, where it is more than 10 years, more than 12 years, but not up to 15 years. Again, there's the imposition. So it graduates up to when you are even imposing 100% on the value.
Right.
This is how very punitive it is. That is when it is more than 25 years of age for those common vehicles that we import. Just because we appreciate that, we want to at least manage these forms of emission and all those related conditions relating to those overage vehicles. So we encourage them to be imported up to 10 years of age. I mentioned that from the time of importation by year, we depreciate the value from 1.5 you paying either 50% on the value which is imported when it is more than 5 years of age, but any vehicle that is imported, the age is more than 5 years of age from importation, you will depreciate the home delivery value by 5%, by 50%. But then when it is more than 10 years, that is when the penalty begins to kick in. After you have enjoyed the depreciated value for tax payment, then penalty is imposed because of the years of age that you are importing. If you look at the Amendment Act again of 2020, in fact, the Customs Amendment Act of 1014 of 2020 brought in certain additional requirements and constraints. In fact, it actually forbids the importation of overaged vehicles, except to mention that the minister is required at any time to come with regulations for it to be implemented, for which we are waiting for that to take effect. Once the minister approves of this particular measure, it means any vehicle deemed overaged, that is 10 years and above, will no longer be allowed to be imported. The law also frowns on importation of salvaged vehicles, vehicles that have suffered collision, on those collisions, body damage, and all those ones. The Amendment Act of 1014 doesn't allow the importation of those vehicles as well. So these are constraints when we talk about the importation of motor vehicles. Penalties, which leads from the payment of additional fees to the forfeiture of the vehicle to the state, and then final disposal, either by way of re-exportation and all those other related ones.
All right, so we are in 2025, and it means that you should not bring in a car that was manufactured in 2015. Well, that's 10 years.
That is 10 years.
As of now, yes.
Exactly.
But, okay, let's say the car was manufactured perhaps in December 2015. We are not in December 2025. So is this permissible for me to bring such a vehicle in? Because it hasn't clicked or clocked the 10 years.
So that you don't pay the overage penalty. So I mentioned that until the minister brings the regulation to prevent or to stop the importation of more than 10 years old vehicles, for now, we only impose the penalty for overage. So yes, as you are doing the calculation, one of the requirements is for you to provide us when the vehicle was manufactured. If you look at Section 60 of the Act, tells you we're comparing this to the first purchase, the time of first purchase, when it was first registered in the home country. So we are looking at that time of registration to the time of importation. So if you do the mathematics and it is more than 10 years, yes, penalty will be imposed. If you do the mathematics and it is no more than 10 years, penalty will not be imposed. Now, for us to standardize this, because there are certain requirements that you must provide. If you're unable to provide all those ones, we want to encourage and do business and facilitate clearance, is where we agree on certain standards. Now, let us take all vehicles that have been imported for the first half year of the year, treat them the same kind, and then those imported for the second half of the year, July to December, treat them also of the same kind. That to mean that from the time you are bringing the vehicle from manufacturing to importation, we will treat you regardless for determination of the age from January up to June, same as anybody bringing February, March, April, May, June, will treat you all in the same category. So in your case like this, because it is in November, yes, it will not be considered overage up until December 31st. Then when it kicks into next year, that is when it will be considered overage.
Okay. So there are those that argue that Ghana, many of the people are not rich, but they yearn to own a car. And so this particular policy of overaged vehicles is quite unfair. And they say, okay, if you are taking a look at perhaps issues of pollution and all that, for which reason this particular directive was given or it was issued, you can find perhaps, let's say, a 2010 vehicle, outside, which mileage, let's say, is like 5,000, 6,000, 20,000 miles. It hasn't gone far, so it means that it's still very sound, fairly new. And if you find such a car, the price is, it meets the pocket of the ordinary person. You say this man has gone to see this sweet car, mileage perfect. You say no, because it's overaged. Is that fair?
Fairness is determined by the society.
Absolutely.
And society selects people to represent them in the assembly.
Absolutely.
And then laws are formulated.
Yeah, sure, that's true.
And these laws are expected to be the representation, to be the voice of the people. So it is based on the voice that we come with these certain laws. Now, the Amendment Act that I mentioned, one thing that it also introduced is to encourage local assembling.
Right.
So, we are looking at developing the local base, in bringing more production, expanding our production base. So the Customs Amendment Act of 2020, 1014, actually made provision for the Ghana Automobile Manufacturers Assemblers Program, which allows people to bring vehicles in their completely knocked down form, or in some degree of knockdown that requires assembling to enjoy certain tax reliefs when they are importing. So if government is encouraging the production, the assembling of these locally assembled these vehicles, then government must also introduce programs as incentives to stimulate, to let people go after those vehicles that they are producing, and then reduce the incentive bringing vehicles into the country. So in fact, that particular act imposes a 35% flat import duty rate on all categories of vehicles, condition that they are producing them in the country, except again that legislation must actually regularize or bring this to birth, which we are waiting on the minister to do. So in terms of fairness, yes, it is fair because this is coming from the representation of the people. And it is to encourage those that we are producing locally for people to be purchasing.
Absolutely. Right. Okay, so let's take a look at the documents that are required to clear a vehicle once you import a vehicle into the country. What are the documents that you require to be able to clear it from the port?
So basically for all importations, you are required to submit a customs declaration under Section 49 of the Customs Act, which is a requirement. In that gives you some obligations or at least certain things that you are supposed to add. One particular one, which is for all businesses or all persons importing or exporting, is the tax identification number. So whether you are an individual, whether you are a business, you're into business, you are required to provide your tax identification number. For individuals, we are using the Ghana National ID, which is the Ghana card, as the tax identification number. And then we are also looking at the certificate of title and registration. Certificate of title. Title is for ownership, to mean that the vehicle is rightly yours, it is not stolen, it is passed on to you legally. You have legal ownership of the vehicle. We are looking at certificates of retail sale, where the vehicle is bought by way of retail. We are looking at certificates of retail sale. We are looking at certificates of value and origin. Certificate of value and origin, and as you can agree, Mercedes-Benz C180 that is manufactured in, say, US, has a different assessment and value as Mercedes-Benz that is manufactured or assembled in Germany. So we want to know origin of the vehicle for purposes of tax administration. We are also looking at bill of sale. We are looking at origin or purchase invoice. We are looking at any insurance paper where you have insured the vehicle for transportation into the country. We have interest in knowing how much you have insured the vehicle. The standard trade document we are looking at is a bill of lading or an airway bill if it is by air, or a way bill if it is coming by road. These are critical documents that we are expecting. If it is by road, then we'll be expecting so that we are sure that it is a vehicle coming and authorized by the neighboring countries.
Right.
We'll be looking for the declaration from the, let's say, the Togo side. We'll be looking for the declaration from the Togo side that is showing evidence that it is actually authorized for export into our country.
Right.
These are basic documents that we'll be expecting if you're importing a motor vehicle.
Now, how is the Customs Division ensuring proper valuation and classification of imported vehicles?
So customs valuation is actually guided by the General Agreement of Tariff and Trade, WTO. However, we sought permission from the same WTO to vary the principle for valuing general goods that for used vehicles or motor vehicles.
Right.
Why? Because we probably do not have globally any standard where we determine the value of used motor vehicles. So nations are bringing their own national laws to regulate or to determine, so they can bring some level of standard into the administration of determining of value of used motor vehicles. So Section 60 of the Customs Act actually identifies or determines how we should value used motor vehicles.
Right.
So if you go to Section 60, just for me to read briefly some portions of it, you see Section 61 talks to, despite the provisions of any other enactment, this section applies in determining for customs purposes the value of a used motor vehicle imported under this Act. This Act means the Customs Act of 2015, Act 891 as amended.
Yes.
Then 2 says the value of a used motor vehicle is the price of the motor vehicle as assessed in accordance with this section, together with freight, insurance commission, and any other cost, charges, and expenses incidental to the delivery of the motor vehicle at the port or place at which the vehicle first entered the country.
Right.
So there's an emphasis on the first entry into the country, the port of first entry. Then 3 mentions that where the age of a used motor vehicle, A, does not exceed 6 months,
right,
the price is deemed to be the first purchase price. So underline, the emphasis is on the first purchase price. The price at which the vehicle was bought at the home country for use in the home country. That is the first purchase price. So where the first purchase price, the time of importation and the age is considered not more than 6 months, the Section 63A tells us that we should take that first purchase price without any form of depreciating it.
Right.
If you look at B, says exceeding 6 months but does not exceed 1.5 years, the price is deemed to be 85% of the first purchase price.
Right.
So where the vehicle is more than 6 months but does not exceed 1.5 years from the time of importation,
yes,
they are saying we should take 85% of the first purchase price for determining the as the customs value, for determining the customs value, and for the imposition of the duties and taxes.
Right.
Then it graduates, tells you where it exceeds 1.5 years but not exceeding 2.5 years. We take 70%. It tells you where it is exceeding 2.5 years but not 5 years. We take 60%. But when it exceeds 5 years, we take 50% of the first purchase price.
Right,
So we need to know the first purchase price. That is a responsibility on you, the person providing.
Right.
But last week I was mentioning we also make application of risk. We take risk in conducting our business.
Right.
So for us to have a stopgap where we can apply risk, where you are unable to provide us evidence of the first purchase price, is where we have connected to databases globally.
Right.
One notable one is the one from that is NADA, the North American Car Dealers Association,
right,
which gives us these prices at which the vehicles were sold in the home country. So whether you are able to provide us that evidence of first purchase or not, we are able to get that from our risk assessment. So we use that value and then do some form of depreciation depending on the age.
Right.
But then generally, for all goods, the classification of goods is actually governed by Section 66 of the Customs Act, which tells us for us to use the Harmonized Commodity Description and Coding System. We call it the HS, which is basically a product nomenclature used globally for the classification of goods,
yes,
and then for the administration of taxes or tariff.
Yes.
So the law requires that we classify all goods that are coming into the country. So if it is depending on the nature of goods, for vehicles that we are talking about, you find them under heading 8701, 8702, transport those for passenger more than 10 people,
right,
or those that are not carrying people, primarily designed for carrying people not more than 10 people, including the driver. That is 8703. You will find them graduated and classified. So once we are able to properly describe the vehicle, we are able to classify the vehicle appropriately under the tariff line, and then the corresponding duties and taxes would apply.
Right.
So these are the measures that we take to ensure that we bring standardization, to ensure that we bring fairness, and the application of the rules regulating the importation, the application of determining value, and the imposition of tax.
Right.
So these are the measures that we take when the vehicle is with us.
Yeah.
Again, the law also provides for some form of post-clearance auditing.
Yes.
That even as we take our risk, consider all those ones for the classifying and for the valuing of the goods, where there is a probability that something may not have happened or may have happened that we are not expecting, or wrongly, then we take comfort in post-clearance audit. Gives us up to 6 years for us to conduct an audit on you for tax purposes, to recover where there is any loss of taxes during our initial stage of assessment.
Awesome. All right. So basically, how long does it take to clear a vehicle from the port?
So we did the time release study.
Yes.
Not looking at vehicles in particular, but looking at, we considered the port of Tema, we considered the port of Kotoka International Airport, we considered the Aplau Customs Border Post.
Yes.
We also considered the Paga Customs Border Post. For the port of Tema, we looked at MPS.
Right.
We look at clearance at Golden Jubilee. And Golden Jubilee is where you'll be having vehicles that are cleared and brought in containers.
Right.
Otherwise, where the vehicles are in these rural vessels, roll-on, roll-off vessels, they are moved straight to the safe-borne terminal for clearance. Now, when we looked at the time it took from arrival up to the release of these goods out of customs charge, it varied depending on where the item is being cleared from. So the typical one, which is for vehicles, would take on average about 8 days for clearance from the time of arrival. However, if you want to segment or break this into the various activities, will tell you where probably there may be a delay causing the span of the 8 days. But on average for motor vehicles, it takes 8 days.
Right, 8 days. Okay. All right, so now let's take a look at the most common reasons. Sometimes you find people, they bring in the cars, and with hard calls to admonish people that you can even begin the process of clearing your goods from the port, even before they arrive in the country. Now, for strange reasons, you still find people, getting, their goods into demurrage and all that. Why? What do you think is the problem where we still have delays in clearing of vehicles from the ports?
So, because the focus today is on vehicles.
Vehicles, yes.
And I'll narrow it to motor vehicles because, yes, that's more of our focus. It is a general thing, not limited to vehicles alone, though, but even though vehicle is significant. When we did the time release study, we looked at certain bottlenecks. We identified within the chain of clearance where these bottlenecks exist, and then the causes and recommended practices to improve on clearance. But when it comes to vehicle, one of the things is having to do with the removal of the vehicle, the time it takes for vehicle to be transferred from where it is discharged to the terminal that it is to be cleared from.
Right.
The discharge location is not where vehicles are cleared from.
Absolutely.
We are not doing any vehicle clearance at MPS. We are not doing vehicle clearance at Jubilee, wrong at the terminal 1, terminal 2, terminal where vehicles are discharged.
Right.
But we do them at SafeBond, we do them at Jubilee.
Yes.
So for the case of Tema. And the time it takes for transfer of these vehicles to the destination terminal for clearance is also a factor. Sometimes it could take 2-3 days before it is positioned for clearance. Then the time it takes for people to even make revenue obligations or tax obligations. Sometimes you going around and looking for funding takes some time. One of the things that we realized, in as much as people took advantage of pre-clearance or pre-arrival facility, in excess of it's about 56 or so % of the clearances or these importing goods are taking advantage of this pre-arrival facility we have introduced so that they can submit the declaration, they can go through assessment, even make payments of duties and taxes and fulfill other regulatory requirements prior to the arrival of the cargo, discharge and clearance.
Right.
But because I mentioned 56% is taking advantage, so the chunk of it, which is also like 44%, that is a huge number. That is not taking advantage of pre-arrival procedures. Would wait. Vehicle is brought, transferred about 3-4 days, transferred to destination terminal before they submit a declaration, which takes about a day for assessment to come out. And then it takes you sometimes about 2 days before they even effect payment of the duties and taxes. Then where it is for you to go and fulfill some financial obligations to the shipping line, to the terminal, and all those other ones before the goods are made available for examination, in this case, vehicles. It can take you, again, about a day or two. So by the time you come for vehicle examination and release, you have spent about 7 days or 8 days.
Right.
So the date of examining the vehicle most likely is the day you are taking delivery of the vehicle. That is when you interface exactly with customs at the port. But all those other activities would have been done remotely.
Right.
You see, which takes most of the time. By the time you come for examination of the vehicle to release, you would have spent about 7 or 8 days. And then after the examination, that very day, you are likely to take the vehicle out of port. So these are things, and sometimes they're late in submitting this document. And some of the queries that you receive during processing, if you have incomplete information,
back and forth,
we require you to provide this, you provide B, and then we go back and forth on you. Give us specifications up to the trim. You do not give us, and we send it back to you to give us additional information. So we go back and forth on all this until you are okay to take delivery of cargo. Then you accept and do payment. So these are some of those ones. And of course, human as we are as well, sometimes some bureaucracies at the port, juggling from one government agency to another government agency, or the private again, going to say MPS, the terminal, going to any of these players at the port, just to make sure that you require the necessary permission for examination and release of this cargo, or putting government agencies together
one-stop shop,
at one-stop shop so that they are all available for examination. These are things that cause some level of delay. And these were revealed during the time release study, for which we have put in measures to address them.
Are there emissions or roadworthiness standards for, used vehicle importation?
So there are, and this is regulated by the Ghana Standards Authority. Currently, this is not done directly at the port. This is done by way of extension during registration. There are efforts to bring that at the port level because, of course, it is of no use for you to take the vehicle out to DVLA for registration just to suffer the vehicle not being off-roadworthy. So discussions with stakeholders so that that can be brought to the port level. But currently, that is done when you are registering the vehicle and when you want to renew registration or the roadworthiness of the vehicle, where DVLA works in partnership with a GSA to regulate these emissions and any other related controls or regulations for registration of vehicles.
Awesome. Okay, so this is our import here on Metropolitan Television. Tonight we are limiting our discussion to used vehicle importation and the rules here in Ghana. With us in the studios, Mr. Smile Agwemenu, who is the Chief Revenue Officer at the Customs Policy and Programs Department. He has been here. Last week he was here. We talked about customs duties and taxes, and this week we are zeroing in on used vehicle importation and the rules here in Ghana. We're going to go for a quick break. When we return, we shall activate the phone lines for you to call in, and we shall also take your messages and read them and elicit some responses for you. Please stay with us.
Good energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP. Available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP will feel ya, huh? Will be feel. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Tell God, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is, you still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Welcome to today's edition of Serene Insurance Business News. We present to you Serena.
You're right. You can complete an entire insurance process for the purchase of any motor and other insurance products, from onboarding to issuing a motor insurance sticker and policy certificate, all on WhatsApp in less than 10 minutes. Serena is simple to use and it prioritizes user ease and flexibility. You can either use voice notes or text to effortlessly issue your instant policy, cross-platform renewals, claims, and also process your payments through mobile money, Visa, and MasterCard. To engage Serena, just search for Serena Insurance on all social media handles and scan the Serena barcode or save her number 0500 517 114 and start chatting her on WhatsApp immediately.
There you have it. Serena is not just a tool. It's an innovation by Serene Insurance designed to redefine how motor and travel insurance are accessed and managed. Speed, convenience, and reliability.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
At Phoenix Insurance, we make the unpredictable predictable and the uncertain certain with our range of products, including motor insurance, fire insurance, engineering insurance, marine insurance, accident insurances, and all types of bonds. We have you covered. We also support you with risk management advice to enable you stay focused on your business. Take a policy with Phoenix Insurance today. We help you rise from adversity stronger and more secure. Contact us on 0302 246319 or 0302 246644 or any of our branches, agencies, and brokers spread across the nation. You can as well connect with us on our WhatsApp chatbot. Efiba is waiting to assist you. Make the future predictable with Phoenix Insurance. Phoenix Insurance, a delightful service experience delivered with wisdom.
All right, so welcome back. This is Iron Port, remember, and tonight we're taking a look at used vehicle importation rules here in Ghana. With us in the studios, like I said, Mr. Smile Agbemenu, who is the Chief Revenue Officer at the Customs Policy and Programs Department of the Ghana Revenue Authority. Last week he was here, and this week too he has decided to oblige us, and we're having a beautiful discussion with him on used vehicle importation and the rules here in Ghana. So far, so good. So I've been told that we can activate the phone lines for you to call in. The number to dial 0245-834980 is right here on your screen, 0245-834980. Now this one is a message from one of our viewers. He says, good evening, please. I want to find out if someone imports a car and couldn't clear it, what is the time frame for a car to be cleared from the port? And also, what are some of the steps for when customs takes over the car after delays in clearing it from the port? The only name I see here is Nathaniel Asante. Yeah.
So good evening, Nathaniel Asante.
Yes.
I mentioned section 59 that tells you the forfeiture of vehicle to the state, where you have not taken delivery of cargo or the vehicle after, where you've not taken delivery of the vehicle after 60 days.
Yes.
From the time of discharge.
Yeah.
It is forfeited to the state.
Yes.
And then the state determines how to dispose of it.
Yes.
The disposal can be by auction, that's public auction.
Yes.
The disposal can be by allocation,
right,
or by any other means as the Commissioner General may determine.
Right.
But it is 60 days.
Right, 60 days. Okay, so let's go into the phone lines to Tema and welcome Nana Kwame onto the show. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Awesome. Nana, please shoot.
Please, can you enlighten us about electrical cars?
Yes, EV cars. Are you the one that sent in the message?
No, please. No, please.
All right, please go ahead.
Electrical cars.
Right, please go ahead.
I want to know about electrical cars.
What about electrical cars?
Duties for electrical cars.
Duties, okay. All right, sure.
Yes, please.
All right, so thank you very much, Nana.
Regulation. Also, hello.
Yes.
Now, Golden Jubilee is charging for hybrid cars. I don't know why they are doing that.
Hybrid cars?
Yes, please.
Okay.
They are charging extra charges for it.
Oh, really?
Thank you. Yes,
okay,
please.
All right. Thank you very much indeed. So let me tie his question into this particular one. This one was sent in by one of our viewers. It says, good program. How about EVs, which is the order of the day? How is the tax calculated, and are there any exemptions? So I just want to tie that into the
yes. Very well. So for EVs, now under the 2022 edition of the CET, we have a special tariff line for EV cars. But the rate of duty is 20%.
Right.
Okay, that's the highest form of duty on motor vehicles.
Right.
However, the value-added tax, as was amended in 2023, makes provision for the grant of exemption from VAT,
right,
where the vehicle is imported for public transportation purposes and it is EV.
Mm.
So if you are bringing an EV and it is for public transportation purposes, the law allows for the grant of exemption from the payment of VAT.
Right.
The Customs Amendment Act, which introduced the program for the automobile, remember, if you are bringing any type of vehicle, including EV, the electric vehicle cars, into the country for further processing or assembling, you are entitled to import duty exemption, value-added tax exemption, GET fund, those related tax exemptions. So these are the special provisions. Other than that, if you are bringing it for personal use, the advantage is when you are using it, that you may not be paying for fuel just by charging using electricity.
Right.
But the rate of duty is 20% and VAT is 15%.
Awesome. All right. Great. Let's go to Wager and welcome Ben onto the show. Good evening, sir.
Fine. I want to ask the officer, how is that Togo, they have free port, but Ghana, you don't have?
Okay. All right. Thank you. I think there's this misconception
yes,
that Togo has
exactly, it's a misconception.
You don't pay taxes and all that, but we would oblige you.
So Ghana has the free zone facility or free zone enclaves, where you are allowed to bring in goods for use, for further processing, for storage under the Free Zones Act of 1995, without the payment of customs duty and also without customs control.
Right.
The only time customs will exert control is when we move these goods by monitoring them as it moves from the port to the free zone facility. For the case of Togo, these facilities are actually situated within the port community.
Yes.
The reason for which they see that to be a free port. So where you are bringing for use under any of those free zone facilities for Togo, it is within the port facility. Just as if you were bringing, for the case of Ghana, it is not within the port facility, but it is taken out of the port to the free zone facility. Once it enters the free zone facility, then we do not exert control because the law says so until you want to move it out of the facility for importation into the country or for exportation.
Yes.
So it is not entirely the case that Togo is having a free port, but just that the free zone that is Togo is situated within the port community of Togo.
Right.
The reason for which most of the things are done by those enterprises, and as the same is in Ghana here, that once you are importing for the free zone, you don't pay duty.
Right.
That Togo, you also don't pay duty.
Okay.
But if it is moving from the port of Togo or the free facility for consumption within Togo, the ECOWAS CET applies, just as it applies for the case of Ghana.
Right, right. Okay, so this one says, good evening. I cleared a car in 2011. I've parked and it has never been registered or used in Ghana. However, I've misplaced the documents. I need advice on how to retrieve the documents from your outfit.
Okay, so the steps are simple. One, you must by now have filed a police complaint of a missing document.
Right.
So that police will do some form of investigation to establish that, yes, the document is missing. So if somebody else is in possession of it, that document would be somehow invalidated, so it cannot be used for any form of legal transaction. Then two, based on this document and report from the police, write to the commissioner for the production of a certified true copy.
Right.
The law requires that we provide you with a certified true copy.
Yes.
So make the application, and then whilst we subject you through our internal investigations, and then we ascertain that a true copy is required for some form of, or it is needed for some purpose that you require, we'll produce a certified true copy for you.
Okay. All right. Let's go on to the phone lines and welcome John. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, my brother. How are you doing?
I am terrific, by His grace. Yourself?
By the grace of
Awesome. Please shoot.
Please, I want to find out, for instance, a registered car in Togo, for use it here and use the number. What are the procedures that are supposed to go through?
Come again.
I'm saying that a car that is registered at Togo.
Yes.
And I wanted to use it in Ghana.
Yes.
What are the procedures that are supposed to go through before?
Okay. All right. Sure. Thank you.
So, yes, good. I mentioned from the beginning at defining importation.
Yes.
This is causing to bring all these manner of things into the customs national territory.
Right.
That includes the one for the Togo vehicle.
Yes.
So under the ECOWAS protocol that allowed the free movement of persons,
yes.
that was adopted in 1979,
yeah.
allowed that when that individual coming into Ghana for a private or business
yes.
is able to drive a vehicle into the country, the law allows for that.
Yeah.
So he's right by mentioning first, the vehicle must be registered in one of the ECOWAS member countries
yeah.
where the person is moving from.
Okay.
So in the case of Togo means the vehicle must be a Togo registered vehicle.
Right.
Then the law allows under the ECOWAS protocol to bring the vehicle for temporal use.
Okay.
The reason for which the vehicle is being imported is your stay in the country.
Yes.
So once you are coming to stay and you don't want to use any vehicle in the country, Ghana, but want to drive yourself from Togo to Ghana and be able to move around freely in your vehicle, the law allows that.
Right.
When you get to the port of Aplau, submit yourself to customs.
To the Aplau border.
Aplau border
yes.
at customs.
Yes.
Submit yourself to customs,
yes.
and then they will process a declaration which is called the temporary vehicle importation.
Okay.
For you require your international driver's license, you require an insurance, and then a customs declaration will be processed for you.
Yes.
And then your period of stay would be will be determined for you based on your reasoning,
right.
so that you are only caused to stay within that period. Where you have reason to extend your stay, again, we allow you to do an extension of stay, but you must make a report to a customs office for that request to be granted. And once it is granted, you can extend your period of stay. But the accumulated period of stay would not exceed 90 days.
Yes.
The law allows that.
Allows that, okay. All right, thank you so much. Indeed, let's go on to the lines and welcome Ahmed from Klagon. Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Good evening.
Awesome. Please go ahead, sir.
Yes. Good evening to you and your the custom officer.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. I just want to find out whether the custom are able to determine these cars that are stolen, that are being brought to this country. Because normally when they come to the port and they are going out, we see some policemen and other people who intercept and suspect to be stolen cars. But they are being cleared at the port by the custom officer. So is there any mechanism that they use to detect whether this is stolen car?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you very much indeed, sir. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And that's a very important question. So we partner with Interpol.
Interpol, yeah, okay.
To the extent that the vehicle has been flagged by Interpol as stolen,
right,
and comes to our attention, the vehicle is detained for further investigations,
right,
and then the proper remedy is assigned. Until then, it is assumed once you have provided the relevant document, the bill of lading, the contract of sale, or any related document that is in support of you owning and importing the vehicle, we may not be able to have reason to believe that it is a stolen vehicle. Once it is flagged by Interpol and it gets to our attention, then the vehicle is no longer released to you, but subject to further investigations and then treatment.
Okay.
So these are the measures. And then we also work, because we also have under the safe framework of standards, we have the custom to customs pillar.
Right.
So it is also possible that we have an intelligence dropping in from a customs administration from where the vehicle is being exported from. Or because of the partnership under Section 3 of the Act, that we partner with other agencies. Again, we are also likely to receive an information and intelligence from any of these partner countries or agencies regarding a particular vehicle that is being imported, where it is stolen or the information comes as it being stolen. Then we subject it to additional investigation and make a decision on whether to release or to take a different treatment. So these are ways that we use to determine whether a vehicle is stolen or not at the port.
Okay.
But when it is even cleared, it goes into use in the country and it comes to our attention. Then we have patrols, we have officers who patrol the country. We have some locations in the country that we have manned for some form of some internal barriers. And then we also work in partnership with the police under the framework of the National Security Architecture with other sister agencies, the National Security Bureau of National Investigations, any of those ones. We collaborate so that if it requires that we pass on intelligence so that any of these agencies within the country or at the port is able to provide that information and stop the outing or the discharge of these vehicles. So we do.
Awesome. All right, so with respect to importation of vehicles, does the DVLA have any role to play?
So DVLA has the role to play at the one during registration. The reason for which you see them at the port where the vehicle has been cleared, that they will issue a temporal registration. So DVLA law requires that before you use a vehicle on the road, it must be registered and identified by DVLA. Now, if the vehicle is meant for movement from the port to the showroom or to before it even goes for registration, it requires that you move the vehicle by road. So DVLA will come in to give a temporal vehicle registration number just to allow it to move from the port to the, let's say, the showroom or to the dealer shop where it will be subject for sale or where you are moving it to the DVLA itself for registration. That is when DVLA comes in so as to give us that temporary relief to allow you some period to move the vehicle out of the port before you register.
Okay. All right, so let's take a look at whether there are any plans to revise current duty rates on used vehicles, perhaps just to engender and encourage affordability.
So, again, this is policy, and this is largely determined by the ministry. But I mentioned that in the Customs Amendment Act of 2020, Act 1014, provided for the introduction of the automobile manufacturing assembling sector. So government is encouraging local assembly, production, value addition. So if there is any policy, then in that particular act again provides for the imposition of 35% of duty on all vehicles under 8702, 8703. That will mean that we want to encourage people buying the domestic or the locally assembled vehicles. So we are waiting on the minister to actually sign that to take effect. If there is any policy, that will be the immediate policy I can mention because that is in the law. Except that we have a good tax regime now. You notice the rate of exchange has dropped, and for that matter, the tax amount payable on vehicles had reduced, some by 1/3. So where you were paying 90,000 on Ghana cedis on a vehicle, today you are paying 60,000. So somebody can net that into some form of a policy or natural reduction because of the rate. Yes, but there is no intention to vary by reducing the rate that has come to our attention yet. But that is policy, and that is to the minister for determination.
Okay. Isaac Nteshi says, I should find out from you, ask Mr. Gwemenu why we still have vehicle duties very high in spite of the fact that the dollar has gone down.
Vehicle duty is so high. I just mentioned that the duty has even reduced. It has reduced because of the reduction in the rate of exchange.
Right.
Or the cedi having appreciated significantly to the major trading, foreign trading currencies.
Yes.
Especially the USD. That to the extent that a duty on a vehicle which you would have paid 90,000 some time ago, you are very likely to pay just 60,000, are reduced by 1/3.
Yes.
So if there is anything at all in recent time, duties on vehicles have actually reduced, just primarily because of the exchange rate.
Right. Right. Okay. So I think that in summing up, I would want you to perhaps tell us some do's and don'ts with respect to your expectations. That's GRA, your expectations of the citizenry in terms of duties and taxes, what the obligations are, and when it comes to the importation of vehicles, I mean the do's and don'ts for importers as well.
The very first thing that would always encourage is for every taxpayer to be truthful and honest with your tax obligations, with your declaration, because it is a self-declaration. You are doing the business, you are doing the purchase, you are importing. You must tell us the conditions under which you bought these things, the condition under which you are importing, the type of vehicle that you are bringing.
Yes.
You must declare all these things to us.
Right.
And you must take advantage of these trade facilities that we have provided so that you quickly and timely make your declarations way in advance of arrival of your vehicle or any other cargo you are bringing, so that you don't delay it doesn't delay the clearance at the port.
Absolutely.
Once you are truthful, once your documentations are not ambiguous, they are clear, and the commodity descriptions are specific.
Yes.
Once you comply with the Customs Act and the regulations and any other national law regarding the clearance of goods, you have no business delaying your goods at the port. No government agency has business to cause a delay.
Right.
So please be truthful, be honest, take advantage and submit your declarations early enough, and then make sure your documents are all together and well organized before you approach us. Where you have specific concerns, always never hesitate to reach out to us.
Absolutely.
When you go onto the GRA website, we have our call numbers. The call center is there. Reach out and then you have somebody to talk to.
Right.
How you can go about clearance, what you can do if somebody wants to take advantage of you, the duties and taxes so required of you. These information are loaded onto the customs GRA website.
Yes.
So I will encourage everybody to go onto the GRA website, www.gra.gov.gh, and then you see information relating to customs. You see information relating to domestic tax, filing your taxes, being tax compliant, and doing all those ones. You see duty calculator for general goods calculation. You see duty calculator for used motor vehicles. Take advantage, learn, explore. We have our other social, media handles. The Twitter, we have Facebook, we have all those ones. Take advantage, learn more. Go onto the internet, read about what you can do.
Search,
Yes, and then there's loads of information regarding customs importation, the do's and don'ts, prohibitions, so that you can be abreast.
Absolutely.
If you are importing, you can know how much tax you'll be paying before even you make a declaration to us.
Absolutely.
So just take advantage and then learn from all those sources.
Right. This one says, my question is with regards to overaged vehicles. Is it applicable to commercial trucks, for example, trailer trucks and public buses, such as VIP buses?
So buses, yes, they are applicable. And then the overage penalty varies from that of the smaller cars. But yes, if it is more than 10 years, it is also applicable.
Okay, all right, sure. I would like to say a big thanks to you, Mr. Smile Agwemenu, Chief Revenue Officer, Ghana Revenue Authority. Customs Division. He's with the Customs Policy and Programs Department. You obliged us last week. This week, we are graciously enough, you obliged us once again. We've been talking about customs taxes and duties, and indeed, we've also spoken about used vehicle importation and the rules here in Ghana. We couldn't have had a better person to come digest this particular topic. We are grateful to you, sir.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. We'd like to say a big thanks to our sponsors, Ghana Revenue Authority, Guel PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, MPS, and indeed Phoenix Insurance. We remember Iron Port is proudly powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, GPHA. We entreat you to watch the abridged version of Iron Port on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on Ghana Television GTV. God willing, next week we shall bounce back with another wonderful edition of your favorite Iron Port program. My name is Kennedy Mona. We thank you so much for choosing us. We wish you a super week ahead and wish you God's blessings. And thank you. Keep watching the rest of our programs here. God be with us all. We're out.